there, this is Veena from Atta Cake, the channel that's about baking and much more. A warm welcome to my channel. Today, let's see how to make Jowar Parathas my way. Jowar Parathas for weight loss. You could also call these Jowar Masala Rotis. But no matter what you call them, these delicious Jowar Parathas would be a great option for breakfast, lunch or dinner, especially if you're on a gluten-free diet. Now jowar or sorghum as it is called in English could well be considered a super-nutritious cereal. It's high in protein and is a good source of magnesium, iron, calcium, phosphorus and vitamin B1. And besides, it is gluten-free and is a rich source of fibre, because of which it makes you feel full for long and is therefore excellent for weight loss. Moreover, jowar is also good for your heart health and for controlling sugar levels. So lots of good reasons for trying out this tasty jowar recipe. Now let's get straight into making delicious jowar parathas right here at Atta Cake. We'll start off by transferring 1 cup of jowar flour to a mixing bowl. To this, we'll add a few chopped vegetables, beginning with a 1/4 cup of chopped onion, followed by a 1/4 cup of de-seeded and chopped tomato, 1/4 cup of grated carrot, 1/4 cup of chopped methi or fenugreek leaves, and a 1/4 cup of chopped coriander leaves. We'll also add 2 cloves of crushed garlic. Now let's check out the dry spices we'll be using. Here's 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds, half a teaspoon of ajwain or carom seeds, half a teaspoon of turmeric powder, half a teaspoon of chili powder, half a teaspoon of chaat masala, 1 teaspoon of dhania jeera or coriander cumin powder, and a 1/4 teaspoon of hing or asafoetida. Let's add all of this to the jowar paratha mix. Next, we'll add in 1½ tablespoons of yogurt and 2 teaspoons of oil. You can use any cooking oil. Let's give everything a good mix. Here I have half a cup of hot water. It's not too hot. I'll use only as much of it as I need to make a soft, slightly sticky dough. These jowar parathas cannot be rolled out. They have to be patted onto a piece of parchment paper and then transferred to a pan. Instead of parchment paper, some people use a sheet of plastic or a wet napkin. I want the dough to be a little softer and very slightly sticky, so I'll add a little more water, say around 2 teaspoons. To know if the consistency is right, pat a small portion of the dough on your fingers and see if you can easily spread it out a little. Like this. This seems just right. So now let's mix in a 1/4 teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of sugar. Now this is not to make the parathas sweet, but to balance the slightly bitter taste of the methi leaves. If children too are going to eat these parathas, you could add half a teaspoon or even 1 teaspoon more of sugar. Let's taste a little of the jowar paratha dough. It tastes good and doesn't need any further adjustment. I used just around half the quantity of hot water to make this dough, meaning I needed to add just a 1/4 cup of water. Here's what we'll need to pat the parathas. A little water to wet your hand and a piece of parchment paper on which you'll have to drizzle a little oil to grease it each time you have to pat a paratha on it. Now with this dough, you could make either 3 medium-sized jowar parathas or 4 small ones. I'm going to make 4 parathas. I'll wet my hand, shape 1/4 of the dough roughly into a ball and then pat it into a disc of around 5 inches diameter on the parchment paper. The paratha disc should be around half an inch or a little less in thickness, but it shouldn't be too thin. If you find the dough is too sticky, then mix in a little dry jowar flour. I'll wet my palm and roughly smoothen the top. My pan has been heating on a medium flame. I'll drizzle a few drops of oil on the pan to grease it lightly and then upturn the first jowar paratha on it. We have to now cover the pan, reduce the heat to medium-low and let the paratha cook slowly for around 2 to 3 minutes on both sides, or till it develops brown spots on each side. It's been around 2.5 minutes, so I'll now drizzle a few drops of pure ghee on the paratha. Desi ghee is believed to help in the assimilation of nutrients from our food. However, in place of ghee, you could very well add oil instead. I'll flip the paratha and let it cook on the other side for a couple of minutes or so. Now let's check how the other side has cooked. It's done. So I'll take it off the pan. While the first paratha was cooking, I had patted out the second one after greasing the parchment paper with oil again. So let's transfer this second paratha to the pan. I've already greased the pan with oil again. But let me show you another way to transfer the paratha to it. Wet your palm first. Transfer the paratha from the parchment paper to your palm and then upturn it on the pan. See which method works for you. Here are the 4 parathas we just made. You can enjoy them with chutney, yogurt, raita or tomato sauce. I've made some onion tomato raita to have mine with. I can't wait to taste one of our freshly made hot jowar parathas. Oh, it's so tasty. I could have all of these. Really. Anyway, once you have your ingredients together, these healthy, nutritious and tasty jowar parathas can be made in no time. Do try out my recipe and make some, and you'll see how tasty they are. And as I often do, let me remind you to subscribe for more of such tasty recipes and send in some feedback as well. See you soon in my next video.